The evolutionary roots of romantic jealousy. To understand why jealousy permeates human relationships with such intensity and universality, we must first journey back millions of years to the environments that shaped our species. Evolutionary psychologists argue that jealousy represents one of nature's most sophisticated psychological mechanisms, designed by natural selection to solve a fundamental problem faced by our ancestors: how to maintain and protect valuable reproductive relationships in the face of competition and potential betrayal. The evolutionary perspective on jealousy begins with the recognition that throughout human evolutionary history, individuals who were better at maintaining their romantic partnerships were more likely to successfully reproduce and pass on their genes. In the harsh environments of our ancestral past, losing a mate could mean not just emotional devastation, but reproductive failure and even death. Those who possessed psychological mechanisms that motivated them to guard their relationships and respond to threats were more likely to maintain their partnerships and ensure the survival of their offspring. This evolutionary framework helps explain why jealousy feels so urgent and compelling. The intense emotional and physiological arousal that accompanies jealous feelings, the racing heart, the obsessive thoughts, the overwhelming urge to act reflects the activation of ancient psychological systems that once meant the difference between reproductive success and failure. Modern humans inherit these systems from ancestors for whom relationship loss carried existential consequences. The adaptive functions of jealousy become clearer when we consider the specific challenges faced by our evolutionary ancestors. In small hunter-gatherer groups where everyone knew everyone else, the loss of a primary partner would have severely limited reproductive opportunities. Competition for high-quality mates would have been intense, and individuals needed psychological systems that could detect threats to their relationships and motivate appropriate responses. Jealousy serves exactly these functions. It acts as an early warning system that alerts us to potential threats and motivates behaviors designed to maintain, protect our romantic bonds. Research in evolutionary psychology has identified several key functions that jealousy appears to serve. First, it operates as a detection system, making us hypervigilant to signs that our partner might be developing interest in someone else. Second, it motivates mate-guarding behaviors, leading us to spend more time with our partners and to be more attentive to their needs when threats are perceived. Third, it can trigger various forms of competitive behavior, from self-improvement efforts to direct confrontation with rivals. Fourth, it motivates communication and relationship repair, often leading partners to address problems they might otherwise ignore. The evolutionary perspective also helps explain why jealousy is such a complex emotion, incorporating elements of anger, fear, sadness, and disgust. Each of these component emotions serves specific adaptive functions. Anger motivates us to confront threats and competitors. Fear alerts us to danger and motivates protective behaviors. Sadness signals loss and can elicit support from others. Disgust helps us psychologically distance ourselves from potentially unfaithful partners, protecting us from sexually transmitted infections and emotional manipulation. One of the most significant contributions of evolutionary psychology to our understanding of jealousy has been the identification of gender differences in jealous responses. Research conducted by David Buss and his colleagues has consistently found that men and women tend to be more upset by different types of infidelity. Men typically show stronger reactions to sexual infidelity, while women typically show stronger reactions to emotional infidelity. This pattern has been observed across numerous cultures and using various research methods, suggesting that it reflects evolved psychological differences rather than merely cultural learning. The evolutionary explanation for these gender differences lies in the different reproductive challenges faced by males and females throughout human evolutionary history. For males, the primary reproductive challenge was ensuring paternity, avoiding the costly mistake of investing resources in children who were not genetically their own. Sexual infidelity by a female partner would have threatened paternity certainty, making sexual jealousy an adaptive response for males. For females, the primary challenge was ensuring continued investment from male partners, as raising children required enormous resources and effort. Emotional infidelity by a male partner would have threatened his continued investment in her and her children, making emotional jealousy an adaptive response for females. These gender differences in jealousy have been supported by numerous studies using various methodologies. Physiological studies have found that men show stronger cardiac responses when imagining their partner's sexual infidelity, while women show stronger responses when imagining emotional infidelity. Brain imaging studies have revealed different patterns of neural activation in men and women when processing different types of infidelity scenarios. Behavioral studies have documented gender differences in the types of mate-guarding behaviors that men and women employ in response to relationship threats. However, the evolutionary perspective on jealousy has not been without its critics. Some researchers have argued that the gender differences observed in laboratory studies may not reflect real-world experiences, and that cultural factors may play a larger role than evolutionary theories suggest. Cross-cultural research has revealed significant variation in jealousy patterns across different societies, suggesting that social learning and cultural norms also shape jealous responses. Recent research has begun to explore how evolutionary and cultural factors interact to produce jealousy. Studies conducted across multiple cultures have found that while certain patterns, such as men being more upset by sexual infidelity, appear consistently across societies, the magnitude of these differences varies depending on cultural factors such as the degree of paternal investment expected in child rearing and the cultural attitudes toward extramarital relationships. This suggests that jealousy represents a complex interaction between evolved psychological mechanisms and cultural learning. The evolutionary perspective also helps explain why jealousy can be both adaptive and maladaptive in modern contexts. The psychological systems that evolved to protect relationships in small hunter-gatherer groups may be poorly calibrated for the challenges of modern relationships. The anonymity of urban life, the prevalence of casual social interactions with potential partners, and the constant exposure to attractive alternatives through media and technology can trigger jealous responses that are disproportionate to actual threats. Understanding jealousy as an evolved psychological mechanism helps explain why it can feel so overwhelming and difficult to control, even when rational analysis suggests that the perceived threats are minimal. Modern evolutionary research has also begun to explore individual differences in jealousy within the framework of life history theory. This approach suggests that people develop different reproductive strategies based on their early experiences and environmental conditions, and these strategies influence their susceptibility to jealousy. Individuals who experienced unpredictable or harsh early environments may develop more vigilant and suspicious approaches to relationships, leading to higher levels of jealousy. Those who experienced more stable and nurturing environments may develop more secure and trusting relationship styles, resulting in lower levels of jealousy. The evolutionary perspective on jealousy has important implications for understanding and treating problematic jealousy. Recognizing jealousy as an evolved psychological mechanism can help reduce the shame and self-blame that many people experience when struggling with jealous feelings. It can also help therapists and couples understand that jealous reactions, while potentially problematic, reflect normal psychological processes rather than pathological disturbances. At the same time, understanding the evolutionary functions of jealousy can help people recognize when they're jealous, responses are appropriate, and when they may be overreacting to perceived threats. Research in evolutionary psychology continues to refine our understanding of jealousy's adaptive functions. Recent studies have explored how jealousy interacts with other evolved psychological mechanisms, such as attachment systems, mate selection preferences, and social dominance behaviors. This research is revealing jealousy to be part of a complex network of psychological systems that work together to navigate the challenges of human relationships. The evolutionary perspective also provides insights into why jealousy is such a powerful and persistent emotion. Unlike emotions that serve temporary functions and fade quickly, jealousy is designed to remain active until relationship threats are resolved. This explains why jealous thoughts and feelings can become so intrusive and difficult to dismiss. They are meant to capture and hold our attention until we take action to address perceived threats to our relationships. As we continue to study jealousy from an evolutionary perspective, we gain deeper appreciation for the sophistication of human emotional systems. Jealousy represents one of evolution's most complex psychological innovations, a mechanism that integrates perception, emotion, motivation, and behavior in service of protecting one of life's most important resources, our intimate relationships. Understanding these evolutionary roots provides a foundation for exploring how jealousy manifests in the modern world and how we can better manage its effects on our lives and relationships.